Hey guys, welcome to the Rushdown review for Atelier Escha Logy, Alchemist of the Dusk. This game was actually released in North America on March 11th. I was really excited about this game because it's supposed to be a departure from the usual Atelier formula they've been using. Because they actually went back to the older ways they do the games, which is more, day-to-day, type of scenarios versus the whole, grand scope of we have to save the world type of plot. But this game has a nice little way of merging some of the PS2 Atelier games and the more recent and older Atelier games. So you get a different experience pretty much. You actually have two characters, but I'll get into that more in actual review. So let's get started on my review for this game. Alright guys, let's talk about the story for Atelier Escha Logy. Even though I always call it Atelier Logy and Escha, maybe because I prefer playing with Logy over Escha. Because Escha I'm pretty sure is going to give me exactly the way I've been used to as far as the way the game is set up from the previous ones, like the Verona series, which I really hate Atelier Verona so much. So much. I hate that game so much. But anyway, this game gives you options of two characters. You're given Escha playing with Alchemist Escha, who's more of a traditional alchemist, use the big old cauldron and stuff. And then you have another character, a male character, Logy, which his real name is Logix Fiscaria. And I, of course, picked him because I was so tired of these girl alchemists. I understand this series is very female dominated, but it would be nice to have a male character, and they finally did that with this game. So I chose Logy. Alright, so that's pretty much the story of this game is really simple. What you're doing is Logy comes from a big city, and he was actually sent to come to this small town co-site to actually help them with their office for R&D, because pretty much they were sucking for a while. So they needed an alchemist to help their R&D division for this little town. You do a lot of miscellaneous quests and stuff, and the story's pretty basic. You're pretty much trying to explore this unexplored ruin. That's the main objective of this game. I thought the story was pretty, straightforward. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy or, anything I haven't seen before. But it was really nice. It was a very pleasant game as far as the story is concerned. It wasn't one of those, oh, we have to save the world and the world's in peril. It's one of those, we're over in this town, we're gonna do stuff, and that's pretty much it. Which I thought was pleasant. It was a nice little departure from usual JRPGs, which is this big world problem. You have to save the world from grave danger. So I enjoyed the story for this game for the most part. It was nice little, characters and stuff like that. I think some of the characters were throwaways. Some characters didn't have much development. And the story between the two characters actually didn't really progress as much as I wanted to. I think that the story was kind of took a back seat for the most part. There's a couple of points in the game where you actually find out more about the characters, but it's not too much. It's not a whole lot. But overall, I did enjoy the story for this game. It was nice. It was pleasant. Alright guys, so now we're going to talk about the mechanics and gameplay. A very important part of the gameplay of the game, which is probably more important than actual fighting, is the synthesizing. This plays a huge part in the game, but my main problem with the synthesizing game is it wasn't really that difficult. It was really rudimentary. There was not that much to it as far as putting things together and proper properties and things like that and effects. You can really just go through this game and just throw things together, and pretty much you're gonna succeed most of the time. I remember the previous Atelier games, you had a really high chance. Well, you have a high chance, but you had a chance of failure on some of the things. This game pretty much hold your hand through the synthesizing parts, which I thought was kind of unfortunate because that was actually a fun part of playing these games because the synthesizing, and you can pass sometimes. You can actually make the thing, or you can actually fail sometimes, which has made the game more an actual game versus it just being I don't think I've ever made not made something. I made something every time I synthesize, which for me is a problem because that takes the whole game aspect, that whole challenge in it, creating things. So that part wasn't all that great. And then the whole aspect of, there's so many menus and stuff you can go through, but a lot of this stuff, you can go through the finer details of all the little components and the different facets of how you create each item, but to be honest, I really didn't need any of this stuff, and I got through the game fairly easily as far as synthesize is concerned. don't even ask for quality of the products that you give to people and stuff. They just, you make it, that's it. I remember when I played Verona, they actually did, you know, the quality of the product you gave the people for quests play a part in actually dealing the quest. So if you gave them like really crappy and shitty items, you know, it wasn't gonna help your grade. This game, just as long as you make it, it's okay. You get the quest, it's over, it's done. So with that, I can say that the synthesizer for this game is it wasn't very challenging. It wasn't even actually that fun either. It's kind of just pretty basic, and this is a real huge part of the gameplay aspect of this whole series. Like, aside from fighting and everything else, the synthesizing is extremely important and integral to the series, and I felt like this particular title, I think, kind of dropped the ball on that, because it's just not difficult at all. Like, it looks complex, it's not complex at all. You can honestly just like skip through all this stuff, all these little different nodules and all these different skills and stuff. You don't even need to use the skills. I barely use it. At first I started using skills and stuff, then I started seeing that it wasn't really necessary to use all the skills and stuff to really get through the game. Like, it was just put all the stuff you need together and bam, you got it. So yeah, synthesizing this game gets a complete thumbs down. I think they need to really refocus their synthesizing part of this game in order to make it actually more challenging, because this is a big part of the game. I didn't feel like I was progressing very much as an alchemist. I feel like I was just, you know, going through the motions pretty much, and that's just not that fun to do at all. So yeah, synthesizing is a big thumbs down from me. So we're going to talk about now something a little more fun, the actual combat in the game. The combat was pretty good. Each game I've noticed that they've always tried to add something new into the combat, make it a little more complex, each one since Verona. And I like that. And this game really hit the mark. I mean, the combat is actually better than the actual alchemy, to be concerned, to be honest with you. This may have been because I played with Logy. I'm going to try playing it with Escha and see if, you know, maybe the synthesizing part will be a little bit better. But something tells me that the synthesizing is going to be relatively the same no matter which character you play with. But that's neither here. That's back to talking about synthesizing. Back to the combat. Combat's really fresh. You have this like skill tree, not skill tree. Sorry, wrong game. Thinking about Ubisoft. You have this meter that you build up for, you know, doing specific things. Like if a component attacks you, you get to have one of your friends jump in and save you and guard. And you got another part that lets you attack after your character's already attacked. Like, say for instance, one of your party members attacks. If your meter's up, you can have somebody attack right after a follow up, which is really necessary because these monsters in the game at some point get really tough. So yeah, teamwork is the dream work in this game. For the combat, you get 6 characters. You thinking, oh, I have 6 characters, I can kill anything. Ha! You won't be able to just kill anything with 6 characters. You're gonna need every single one of your party members at their best strengths in order to kill stuff. But going back to the synthesizing really quick, I did like the fact that it was easier to get like equipment. In other games, it took a longer time to get new equipment and get new books for equipment. This game is relatively quicker, which I like because you need to just progress your armor and stuff really fast. As far as the attacks, they don't have that many attack skills in this game. There's actually quite few in this game. I didn't really like that part either. But they're really flashy and nice looking. Like, this is pretty gorgeous to look at. So I did like that aspect. What else about the combat? I thought it was really fresh and fun. I mean, it has like a little meter at the top that tells you whose turn is going to be coming up next. You know, kind of like Final Fantasy X. So there's a lot of strategy to the actual fighting. Oh, one more thing. As far as your alchemy items, they replenish every time you go back to town. So that's nice because you don't have to keep making the same thing over and over again. Like, you can just make a certain set and keep that in your party for Escha and Logy, and then once you go back to town, they replenish each time. So you don't have to worry about making a whole bunch of the same item a billion times, which is great. And even you can get actual, like, Homunculus can make stuff for you too. So as far as like monotonous alchemy, I'm glad they took that part out. But I just wish the alchemy was a little bit more, I guess, tougher. But overall, pretty good. No. Alright guys, so in conclusion, just to overall wrap this up, the graphics in this game are pretty good. I thought that the actual shell shading was really nice. The gameplay is pretty good, even though the synthesizing is really easy. I didn't think that this game was really relatively all that hard. I think that there may have been a few like difficulty spikes as far as like some of the enemies that you fight, which don't happen that often, so it wasn't too bad. But you know, it's an okay RPG. I mean, it's not like, it's pretty okay. It's pretty to look at. It's a lot of fluff. There's no deeper meaning to the storyline. It's just really nice, fun, pleasant RPG experience. But it's really not that great of a game. It's fun, and I kind of enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say this is one of my. I wouldn't say it was a great game overall. And my grade for this game would be a C plus, which is on the lower side of the tier list. So, yeah, unfortunately, this game didn't. It probably would have been better had the game been a little bit longer, if the story was a little fleshed out a lot more, and you know, the characters actually had more depth to them, because they were very, very stereotypical anime characters. Even though they were pleasant to, you know, they weren't like, you know, overbearing or anything, or just, you know, obnoxious. But they were very, you know, one-dimensional, and I thought that that was kind of like a downfall, like a little downfall of the game. I think that they need to do a little bit better with storytelling. What do you guys think about this grade? You think it's a little too low? You think it's too high? You think the game just sucks? You think it's great? Let us know in the comments below. Go to our website, of course, which is rushdownradio.net. Check out our Facebook page too at facebook.com/rushdownradio. See all of our reviews and news and stuff like that. Continue to support Rushdown Radio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next time.